Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna, this is my mom Gina.
He's the journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I am enthusiastic, even though my voice may crack a little bit. I'm dealing with that little fall sore
Yeah,
throat.
I think it's because you're partying a little too much last night.
I was partying last night, that's why I'm wearing my just to start us off.
Yeah. Tell people what you got going on here.
Well, your dad's company bought, I don't know if people would see this, he bought tickets, actually a big front table at this roast of Rex Hudler. Rex Hudler is the color commentator for the Royals. He
Kansas
played
City Royals,
10 years in the minors, 10 years in the majors. It was to benefit one of our local Catholic high schools, St. Michael the Archangel. It was very cool. But it was just it was a star-studded night. They had celebrity roasters coming out there, but then they also had like Ozzie Smith and let me see who else they because it was Whitey Herzog.
Yes.
Then they had a bunch of the Royals,
the current Royals players.
Oh yeah, Drew
do
Butterick,
videos and stuff.
Eric Hosmer, Whit Merrifield. Whit Merrifield is good looking.
A lot of girls like him.
Well, you know, you see him on TV. That is a good looking young man. Look, I'm choking on it.
Well,
but it was a really great night.
Yeah.
And they raised a ton of money for charity. And I will tell you, I got to know a lot. You see these color commentators, usually, you know, ex-athletes.
Right.
This man has so much knowledge and so much love in his heart. That's what I love about sport. And that came through. Again, multi-sport athlete.
Right.
Was recruited to play college football and drafted in the major leagues. But it was a really fun night. Right. They roasted him and did like a pig roast theme, Hawaiian theme.
Of course.
So these are real flower ladies. I might have to take them off because I think the lilies are killing me. But, but you know, it's a great sports night.
That's awesome. And that's what's great. It was out there in the Lee Summit area. Very nice area in part of Kansas City, Missouri. And that's what's great. You have the Royals interacting with the community, and you got a chance to be a part of that. So that's really cool.
And I'm a sports enthusiast, so I was really, they were lucky I was kind of sick, because if I wasn't, you know I'd embarrass myself. But I kept it together.
Right. Well, that's really awesome. As we are talking about sports, obviously that's our show. We're talking about the NFL preseason right now. Week 2 is just wrapping up. We want to talk about what happened last night. The Browns and the New York Football Giants played on Monday night. And so the big story to me, more than anything else about this preseason right now, and at least with the Browns, is they're undefeated. They're 2-0.
Which is crazy.
They won one football game last year, and that was the last game of the season.
It's crazy talk.
And they're undefeated right now. And
Look,
granted,
I'm choking on it.
Yeah, it's the preseason, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But like I mentioned with some of our rookie quarterbacks that we did with one of our other episodes, this is the platform of which we're at right now. And you have to start somewhere, and you can build off of the preseason. And so the Giants were actually kind of considered to be the favorite in the NFC East, along with the Dallas Cowboys. But the Giants right now have a stellar defense, but no offense. And is that surprising to you right now at this point in time?
Not at all, because they've had a stellar defense and no offense for the last couple of years. I mean, let me say this. Obviously, they have Odell Beckham Jr. and they have Brandon Marshall, and of course they have
Sterling Shepard and Eli. Yeah, I mean, they've got some good athletes.
But they have offensive weapons. But if you don't have a solid line, you can't do anything.
Correct.
You're a running back.
That's true.
You know that. If you've got a linebacker or a corner who's blitz and he's in your face when you get the ball, there's no play.
And they were one of the worst teams rushing the football last year, too.
They really were. Defensively, you know, they just have work to do. But I did hear someone else say this, I don't remember, but they just said, look, the Giants are always like this.
Yeah.
So I think this is just how they operate. It's like having an old car that you kind of have to kick, you know, you got to you know, hit it to get it to start, but it works.
And
so maybe that's just the way they are.
Start super fast and win the preseason and then win a bunch of games that don't matter, but then when it comes to the actual regular season where you're talking about positioning and where you want to be and then be nowhere to be found.
Well, it's two things. You know, Odell Beckham Jr. went out with an ankle. It looked like a knee, but turned out to be his ankle, and turned out he was fine. And then Brandon Marshall had to leave with a shoulder injury. So those are things you don't want to see. But if you're the Browns, I agree with you. For the Giants, this may not be a big deal. For the Browns, huge deal.
It's a huge deal.
You got more wins in the preseason than you had all of last season.
Right. And since we are talking about the Browns, let's talk about what took place during the national anthem. Now, we're not going to make a huge deal about this because I think this is something that is very appropriate. And not saying that it's not a huge deal. I think it just is something that needs to continue to be brought up as far as an awareness situation. We're not saying that, people need to just start doing their own thing. But I think this is what needs to take place when we're talking about unity and togetherness. 12 Browns players knelt and prayed during the national anthem last night. And it was a very nice sight to see because one of the players was a white athlete. He was one of the white players. He was a tight end. and he decided to kneel with his brothers on the team and pray. And I just think it was a really, like I said, it was a really good sight to see not just the black players doing that. Now, there's a trend right now kind of where players are sitting down, and then you're starting to see some of the white players, their teammates, putting their hands on the shoulder saying, look, I hear what you're now talking about.
Yeah.
I see what you're trying to do, and I support you. I really think it was a good thing that took place last night. What are your thoughts on this?
I agree with you 100%. We already talked about in your last show, you know, I was a little disappointed in Hugh Jackson's statement about that. It's
and like we both were a little.
Mine are fine. I hope everybody stands. My team won't sit. Well, your team knelt. But it was, you know, Seth DeVal knelt with his brothers on the team. But then you had Kenny Britt, who put his hand on Michael Bennett's shoulders from the Seahawks. And Derek Carr, the quarterback, put his hand on Khalil Mack's shoulder. And I'll be honest with you. When I hear the national anthem, I was at an event at a school last week, and they started with the national anthem. I'm there with my hand on my heart, singing loud. People can hear me. I'm obnoxious. And when we get to Land of the Free, Home of the Brave, I almost always tear up. You know, anybody who knows this about me knows I do.
Yes.
And I'm just, I get very overwhelmed with my patriotism. But I absolutely and completely, and that patriotism allows me to respect someone who says I must take a knee in honor of the country I don't think is living up to its full potential.
Correct.
So I appreciate that. And I think a hand on the shoulder, I think that's a good thing. It's like, hey, I'm going to stand and sing, but I got your back too. So I kind of like that, where it's going with that.
And I agree. You know, whatever people want to do to, like I said, bring awareness to where we're at right now as a country, I think that's what needs to be said. It shouldn't just be a flash in the pan, or just, you know, hey, someone did something, so we got to just everyone focus on that. And I think that's what happened with the Colin Kaepernick situation. He was trying to bring awareness to what was going on, and everyone just blew it up. And of course, of the climate that we were in within the presidential race and all of the stuff taking place around that time, it was just bad timing. But I think people now are starting to really understand that, look, we've got to do more than just focus on one guy, you know. And I think the fact that other people, other players, white players, the rest of the country, what took place in Charlottesville rang loudly, and people are really starting to understand we've got to be better than what happened. And so I think it's a good thing.
I think showing unity, solidarity, if I'm standing and you're kneeling and I touch you, I say I'm with you.
Right.
Because there's more than one way to love. There's more than one way to grieve.
Yes.
And y'all just need to respect how each other feels about that. And those forms of expression I think are good. So I was happy to see it. Originally I was like, I really hope nobody kneels. I hope we can just get through the season. But especially after Charlottesville. I wanted to say Berg. After Charlottesville. I love the fact that we're starting to see football players of all colors standing up. So I appreciate, or not standing up, kneeling down or standing together. Right. So there we go.
And just the idea that humanity and people's lives are starting to take place. And I think that was what the whole protest was about, is that it's people's lives that are at stake. It's not just trying to draw attention to yourself. It's to stand out and speak up about something that is a real issue in this country. And I think the more people that we can have be activists and speak on these issues and come together and unify, the better we're going to be. And so I really like seeing that.
Well, I'm sorry I'm so mush-mouthed, but at least I'm not boneheaded like your friend Zeke.
Oh, you mean Zeke the Freak? Zeke the Freak out there. Man, he just doesn't get it.
Zeke the Freak.
Zeke the Freak. He just doesn't get it. He just does not get it.
You know, it's really sad because to intro the topic, Zeke Elliott just received last week 6-game suspension from the NFL for domestic violence against a woman he was in a relationship with over a 5-day period where they were on vacation from Columbus, Ohio, down to Florida.
Right.
And this weekend, he was out on a boat, a party boat. Now, listen, I love a good boat. I love being on the lake. It clears your mind.
On the lake
the water is wonderful. No, Zeke the Freak is out there on a party boat with half-naked women. All the men.
It's the perception of where you're at mentally, and he just does not understand that right now you don't have the luxury to be seen on a party boat with half-naked women, drinking or not drinking. It's the fact that you aren't respecting where you're at and what other people are potentially getting ready to do to you. He's trying to appeal the 6-game suspension.
On Tuesday.
And when you're getting ready to go up against a judge and a jury and people are looking at what you're doing since this incident took place, they're saying he doesn't care. He doesn't get it. He just doesn't understand
How low is the bar for Zeke that, well, at least he wasn't drinking and didn't punch anybody? What?
That's
like, for real.
I mean, honestly,
for real. It just basically said, maybe he's trying to give off the appearance, I'm completely innocent, there's no reason for me not to. At the end of the day, Zeke, you're into preseason. There are people fighting for their football careers right now.
Correct.
Who are in the gym, who are with their trainers, who are running extra laps and reps, and here you on the boat after you've gotten in trouble, and that's going to affect your whole team. It tells your team you don't care.
Exactly. Well, at this point in time, it's always going to be on him, but it is about the Dallas Cowboys and his family or his handlers. They need to figure something out because this is not getting any better. And you would have thought by the 6-game suspension potential that he would just lay low, basically hide under a rock until all this stuff clears up. But no, he's out there.
You know what?
TMZ's got pictures of him. It's not good.
Something wrong with Zeke.
Something's wrong with Zeke.
Something is wrong with Zeke.
We know it. Something's wrong with Zeke.
That elevator is stopping on the 9.5 floor out of 10.
Something's wrong with Zeke.
Something ain't going right.
Well, it's only the preseason, and we got a couple more games to go before the regular season kicks off, so we're going to be watching everybody closely. We want to say we appreciate your time, folks. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, type in my name, Adam Orduna, and like our Facebook page, type in OTD. We'll see you again, folks.